Hello, everyone. This is Mary Elizabeth with Sacred Love Tarot, and this is going to be just a small collective reading for today, September the 7th, 2024. I hope this reading finds you well. Thank you for tuning in. 3 major arcana cards. My goodness gracious. Look at this. I'm just going to say that things are happening. Things are moving. Things are coming into this beautiful, wonderful energy. The star, the moon, the sun, 17, 18, 19. I just want to say this. I offer a reading that allows me to give, it's 30 days of mini morning readings. And I did 4 of those this morning. And so this deck has been used this morning, has been shuffled and shuffled and shuffled and shuffled and shuffled. So this 17, 18, 19 star, moon, sun is is serious business. It's serious business. I know there is a lot going on astrologically, and there's a lot going on energetically. And I know that there are many in the collective that are really starting to transition and change into another dimensional level, if you will. There will be those continuing in the 3D, but there will also be those who will ascend to the 5D. And what that means is that we are no longer allowing the energies, the people, the relationships, the thoughts, the feelings that have been controlling us. We are no longer allowing it to affect who we are, what we're doing, where we're going, what we're manifesting, what we're attracting. We know that there have been things that have been hidden from us, energetically, societally, through society, through our own energy, through our own thoughts and feelings. Some of us haven't allowed ourselves to be the true, authentic versions of ourselves because we there was this energy of feeling, I don't want to offend. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I use this analogy. I'm reading this book, and she talks about when we were kids, we lived in this big castle. Analogy, please. We lived in this enormous castle, and this castle had thousands and thousands and thousands of rooms. And because when you're a child, you're so imaginative and just so curious about everything, each one of those rooms was explored in depth. And so one day when we were a little bit older, there was a knock at the door, and somebody said, I don't like how happy you are. It makes me immensely uncomfortable. You apologized profusely, and you shut that door to happiness. You shut that door to exploration. You shut that door to imagination. Somebody then came to the door and said, we don't like that shade of lipstick you're wearing or those clothes you're wearing. It makes us quite uncomfortable. And you said, oh, I'm sorry. I won't do that again. So then you stopped doing the things that made you look pretty. And then you stopped doing the things that made you feel pretty. And then you stopped to do, and then you stopped, and then you stopped. And every time someone came to the door and knocked and complained about that version of you, you shut that door. And now we recognize it. We see it, right? It's no longer an illusion, right? We recognize, we acknowledge, we see, we now know that what we were doing were appeasing other people. What we were doing were making other people happy. People who couldn't care less. People who wouldn't do the same for us, right? And that people-pleasing thing is okay to a point. When you start sacrificing all of your needs and wants and desires to please somebody else so they are not offended by it or they are not triggered by it, that is when we start giving over that power. So it's important to recognize that there are beautiful, wonderful dreams coming true in your life, but you have to make the decision to go in that direction and be who you truly, authentically are, right? And the sun is all about that imagination coming back. Bring it back, baby. That imagination, that inspiration, that happiness, that joyfulness. You know, as adults, we become very afraid to be that inner child, or to let that inner child come out dancing and dancing in the rain, or singing, or being your true authentic self, stripping everything back and not really caring what other people think. Because why we get a limited amount of time in this physical self, and we spend a lot of that time worrying about things we can't control and hiding parts of ourselves from people who we don't want to offend, right? We don't allow ourselves to be that inner child anymore. We don't allow ourselves to be that imaginative, vulnerable, excited, exploratory self anymore. And I think that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about really letting go so we can receive. We're talking about being that authentic version of ourselves and following that path, and then coming out on the other side. We have the moon, the stars, and the sun. We have the star, the moon, and the sun. We have giving and receiving and being one's true self and following that path and stepping into balance, stepping into stability, and recognizing that you hinder yourself when you give up on yourself for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? There's a squirrel outside of my window again. There's always a squirrel outside of my window. And now it's about to jump on my windowsill and look at me and flash its tail at me and be bad. Because it thinks that it can intimidate me, but it can't. So look how joyful we have. We have the mother, we have the maiden, we have the crone. We have all of these wonderful versions of you that desire to come out and celebrate, that desire to come to the party, that desire to come out and be seen and be heard and be and enjoy life and all life has to offer. I heard somebody say the other day that when we don't figure it out in this lifetime is when we come back again and repeat the process, right? I can't even imagine how many lifetimes that I've been trying to figure out the process. So from our Earth and Bones card, we have the Sorcerer, and this is 18 and 18, the Moon and the Sorcerer, and we have the full moon behind. And we have ambition, willpower, and creation. So you're creating something so beautiful here. You're creating something of substance. You are creating a life that you've always desired to create. And this energy is being brought to you by the sun, the moon, and the stars. This energy is brought to you by intuition. This energy is brought to you by spirit and source. This energy is brought to you by your dreams coming true. And if any of you have been paying attention, we have this black cat here with this dead fish. He takes this fish and he offers it to, if you've seen The Everyday Witch, he offers it to the cat in the Two of Cups. And the Two of Cups is a card of two people with the same energy coming together. Making plans, being open, talking, a very successful partnership, a very successful beginning of a partnership or a relationship. So I kind of feel that when you start transitioning and changing and creating this true version of yourself, that your relationships with people are going to start changing. How you relate to people, who you accept into your energy, and who you feel you have to let go because they're no longer a part of that energy anymore. Usually people who come into our energy are there for a couple of reasons. Some people are there to show us who we truly are, and some people are there to take advantage of the person who we are, right? And then there are some people who kind of sit in the background and kind of wait to kind of determine what kind of person we are before they either come in or leave. So I think that there will be new friendships here. new partnerships here and new opportunities. This is going to be an amazingly, wonderfully beautiful transformation for you, like a clean slate. And regardless of how old you are and watching this, if you start on this process now, I feel by the end of the year that there are going to be some astronomical changes for you, and that all of the hiccups or uncertainties or insecurities that you've been feeling this last year are going to start transitioning and changing into energies that very much relate to you, and energies that you very much are able to work with, and energies that bring you into a time of happiness and abundance and transformation and inspiration and imagination. And it's about celebrating life. Regardless of how old you are, it's never too late to start celebrating life and to start living life, and to allow yourself to let go and stop feeling responsible for other people's bullshit. Stop feeling responsible for the past. I was reminiscing about my past last night, and then I stopped in mid-conversation, and I said, the only way that I'm going to be able to heal from this is if I stop telling the same fucking story, and if I let this go. And so I stopped telling the story, and I walked out of the room and got ready for bed. So we have to stop telling ourselves the same fucking story of tragedy and turn that story into success. And it's okay to do that. It is okay to do that. If you were in a situation that was tragic, find the underlying blessing of that situation, and then use that as the focal point of your story. Because your story isn't who you are. It's something at one point in time that has happened in your life. And it can't be changed. And there isn't anything that you can do about it. So it's time to let that go and start telling new stories. Know that you're divinely guided and loved.